What's up, guys? October 18th today. Heading in. It's only 40 degrees this morning. It's about 20 after 7. Went for a walk yesterday down here. And I saw one doe skirting the edge of the thicket, heading west into the wind. So I'm gonna do a little bit of the same today, heading back down into the ridge, see what we can get into, see if there's any bucks moving. Rained all day yesterday, rained all night. It's supposed to be nice out today, but cold. So hope the acorns are on the ground, hope the deer are moving. Stick with us. What's up, guys? So we're just getting down into the ridge, taking this 2-track. Yesterday, had some does coming through right here on the edge of the thick stuff down at the bottom. So we're gonna get a little bit tighter down here. There's always a lot of action down here. Always deer moving. It's just, can you get to them before they're spooked? Can you get to them before they're pressured? We got a lot of guys that hunt the ridge. A lot of them gun hunt. A lot of them start in October with the guns. So it's one of the things us bow hunters out here have to contend with. Getting in tight on these pressured deer, but the name of the game. I'm gonna slip down here to where I know there's a pretty heavy run. We'll get set up near that run. Like I said, it rained all day yesterday. 40 degrees this morning, maybe a little bit cooler. Should be time for these bucks to get moving around. See a little bit better down here now. It's only about 7:30 right now, it's still early. Check back with you guys in a little bit. Peace. Alright guys, made it all the way down this 4-wheeler trail. All the way to the back where it meets up with another one. Didn't see a single track. Well, I saw one single track. It has rained for the past probably 48 hours. Pretty solid. So, can understand why there's no tracks. I know there's deer moving in here. There's a bunch of runs. Like I said, there's just no tracks. The good part is there's no 4-wheeler tracks either on either trail. So since the rain, nothing's been through here. I'm gonna move into the wind. My wind's coming from the west, southwest today. So I'm gonna be pushing from the east back into it. Just gonna walk this ridge line here. I ran into a bunch of deer down here before just doing this. Gotten a few of them, so I'm gonna try doing the same thing. Just walking this trail, peeking in on both sides. Both sides are very thick. Both sides are bedding. Both sides they'll just stand and eat acorns as well. As you can hear, it's pretty windy. The ground is nice and wet. Perfect stalking and creeping conditions. So. What's up, guys? So probably about in the last spot where I can talk for a little bit. So I figured I better get an interview in. Just tell you how our ridge line sets up. We have an upper ridge and a lower ridge, and where the upper ridge comes down. We have about, say it's about 300 yards, maybe a little bit more, maybe 500 yards to our lower ridge. And at the lower ridge, that's the boundary of our territory. I'm about 100 yards or so from that. So this whole flat between the ridges is where all the deer like to bed, where they all like to play, where they all like to eat. They'll go up the upper ridge and hit the ag fields up top. But the way our ridge sets up is there's a creek that runs right through the middle of it, east to west. And there's about 10 to 12 different patches of thickets throughout our ridge. And just like you can see down here, how it's real open. You can see way back there about 200-300 yards to the ridge on an angle, to the lower ridge. We have these oak, I call them oak flats. I don't know what you want to call them, bunches of oaks that line up between our thickets. So you can make it from the lower ridge to the upper ridge going north to south without having to climb through crap, because these thickets get really nasty. The struggle is figuring out which thicket the deer are going to be in. Like I said, there's about 10 to 12 of them in our ridge from east to west. And they're all about 100 yards wide, like this. You can see up here, this is all a thicket. But on the sides of it, there's these oak flats, is what I call them, and you can slide right through them. They're nice and open. You can, I don't know how many bucks I've gotten doing that, where I slide through them and I stop about halfway up the ridge, or about halfway through here. I'll stop and I'll call, because what happens with this creek running through east to west is we get different spots that start to form little swamps in there. There's about 3 of them. About 3, maybe 4 of these thickets have swamps in them, and those are the ones we try to key on, because we know that's where those bucks are. The closest one to me is about up this way, probably about 350 yards from me right now. We're gonna slide through down here on this 2-track. There's another little patch of thicket down here where I saw one of the biggest 10 points of my life, just coming up from the lower ridge. So, like I said, this is probably the last stop. I can probably really stop and do an interview prior to getting into the thick of things. Still haven't seen too many tracks, but now I'm getting to the nastier part of the ridge where there's deer going to be bedded. It's only 8 o'clock right now, so it's still fairly early. I'm just keeping my eye back here on this lower ridge, because a lot of these deer come up from down there. But we're going to keep moving up here. Right here, you can see how open this is, how far out it goes. With the rifle, during gun season, a lot of time I'll sit down here and just watch this whole bottom. Squirrels are just getting moving too. I haven't seen too many squirrels today, but over the last 10 minutes, I've seen probably 6 or 7 of them come down the tree. So then that's a good sign for the deer movement as well. Next time we talk to you, hopefully we're in the action. I've just gotten set up, maybe about 4 or 5 minutes. I grunted once, and I heard behind me. I turned and looked, and there's 2 deer, about 80 to 90 yards, moving up towards the upper ridge. And then they circled over there, and they kind of did 2 or 3 circles, and I saw the one head back towards the lower ridge, but I haven't seen the second one. The one going towards the lower ridge looked like it had kind of a scrawny body on it, but his nose was down to the ground while it was walking, so it might have been a small buck. Closest they probably were about 65, 70 yards. I got a couple glimpses of them as they move through here. I'm not sure if I want to stay here and wait. I think I can cut that one off. That went to the lower ridge if I loop back around. Well, October 18th, the rut is on, or at least they're chasing. I don't know if I got any of that in the frame. Self-filming, man, what are you gonna do? That doe, that first doe, she's got to be the hot one. Unless they're both hot, I don't know. But I don't know if, I think the camera was too zoomed in. I could see them coming way back there. So I got up and grabbed the camera and tried to film them way back there. And I don't know if he put his nose up her butt or what, but she tore ass over here. I tried to get the camera back on the stand and get my bow. By the time I got the camera back on the stand, I couldn't get clipped onto my loop. And that doe and that 8-point ran by me at about 15 to 20 yards. No stopping. I hit him with 3 or 4 Matt, and he kept going full bore. I knew there was another one back there. She was a doe, and then she had a spiker behind her. That spiker was hanging out at about 45, almost 50 yards. Thought about it, contemplated. Man, that hurts. They came in from behind me. I didn't expect them to come from the lower ridge. I thought they would have been bedded up here. My wind is pushing straight over my back. They came right in, downwind of me. Ran right by me. That big boy followed the doe up into there. The spiker followed the doe back towards my house. Oh man, that sucks. Like I said, I could see them running back and forth over there, and I wasn't sure what they were doing, because then they start doing loops. And that's what it was, is that buck was chasing. Fuck. Well, I was just about to get up and start heading that way to try and intercept them, because I could still see them moving back there walking. That's when I grabbed the camera. I said, alright, we're going to move this way. If they're out of shooting range, let's at least get some footage of them, see if there's a buck. Next thing you know, they turn and start coming right at me. Man, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. Got shot a little guy. Alright guys, it's about 9:30, about 10 minutes now since I shot that little guy. Brown on the ground, baby. Brown on the ground. Unreal morning, fun morning. Bucks everywhere. Does everywhere. Chasing going on again. Man, I just love being in the woods. I love being in the woods. You don't see this stuff anywhere else. Like a big 8-point buck chasing a doe 15 yards away from you. You don't get that anywhere except the woods, man. But I was trying to get in on that doe. She slipped up towards the lower ridge. So I stopped here just at the edge of the 2-track. And I'm just kind of hanging out and looking. I look back up this way. And I see another deer coming. I said, all right, you know what? If this deer stops in range, it's getting an arrow. I don't care what it is. It's brown, it's coming by me, it's getting an arrow. I honestly don't know how far that deer was when I shot. I figured him to be about 20, maybe just over. Kept my pin a little high shoulder. Looked like the arrow dipped. I might have hit guts. He was quartering away. But as you saw, he went and stood there 10 yards from where he got hit. He bedded down. And about 5 minutes ago, I watched his legs go in the air, kicking around, and I can just see belly up now. So I'm assuming I got lung or heart on that quartering away. But those broadheads, those single bevels, and they're so sharp, they zip right through the deer, and they don't even know they're hit. He stood there looking around, trying to figure out what happened, until he laid down and died. I don't see his head moving anymore. He was looking around for a minute when he laid down. But we're gonna head up there. We'll see if we can get the arrow first. Like I said, the deer's only 10 yards away from where he got hit. Looks like he's a little guy, maybe a little spiker or something. Young deer. But hey, he's brown, and he came in the wheelhouse, and he stopped. So he took the GrizzlyStik, but we will be back. We will be back in here for sure, man. That was a nice 8-point. I hope I got some film of him. He was hauling bum though. He was hauling bum, chasing that doe. And they moved right up at that swamp. Just what I wanted to go try and sit on, or I figured they'd be bedded up in that swamp in the thicket. That's where he had it, was right up there chasing that doe. I'm sure the other doe and spiker probably made it up that way by now. They looped up here. And then I'm sure they probably looped over. They wanted to go right through just like those first two, but they could see me. See this big tree right here, the V. I was down at the bottom of it. They all cruised right through here. This little guy is actually right on her trail. So she's definitely hot. He was walking through with his nose to the ground right on the same trail she ran through on. So maybe not. If they're not hot, they got to be coming in. I mean, it's only October 18th. I wouldn't imagine it, but it looks like maybe some pre-rut action here. She's probably not ready, probably why she's hauling bum like that. But all right, anyways, let's slide up here. Ugh. Brown on the ground, baby. Little guy, but hey, man, A deer's a deer in Tusky, baby. We get deer down with a bow. That was with the bow on the ground, spot and stop. That don't happen every day in Tusky. You gotta be sitting up in a tree stand on a field edge to get one out here. Fired up. Fired up. Fired up. I don't care the size of the deer. I don't care. I don't care. You guys might care. I don't care. Deer's a deer around here. Let's hope we can find that arrow. Because I only got 2 that work. I only got 2 arrows working right now. I gotta find this thing. Hey, buddy. He did. Just gotta find that arrow. Only took him 10 minutes to die. Ooh, yeah, there we go. Lung butter. That's why he gone. That's why he expired so quick. Took a lung out. Alright, let me talk a little bit why I shoot these GrizzlyStiks. As you can see, here's this bad boy covered in blood. As you can see, it's off the ground, stuck into the ground. And my camera, where I shot from, where is it? Where is it? Oh, right by that tree right there. There's the camera. Now let's range that. Range finder. $32 yards. So 32 yards. Deer's right there. So 32 yards. This arrow went through the deer and still buried into the ground. Let's get it out. And that broadhead buried in just how it took off. A little bit of dirt on it, still has a pretty good edge. And some blood on the fletchings, that's what we like. Alright guys, it's about 10 o'clock now. I hung out for about a half an hour, seeing if anything else would come through. Didn't really want to spook the area because that big guy came cruising through. So before I knew everything was settled, I just wanted to sit down and relax and just let these woods settle down a little bit before I start moving around and drag this deer out. But let's go through it a little bit. This is where I was set up behind this tree, and I'm watching up in here for these deer to come out of. Or this side, this is where that doe came out of. Little doe came, I think the first doe and big buck spooked her out. She came out of here, spooked up and went up that way. And I watched her go across here and then up there. And you see our cameras right there. So what I did is I was gonna stalk her. She's a decent sized doe. Maybe not. I don't know. It was brown. I don't care. It was brown. Stalked at her and I got to where that tree is. Couldn't see her anymore. Looked back up this way, and that's when I saw that buck coming from there. And when so you see the cameras there. When I got him to stop, he was just past. He was like just past this tree right here. Oh, this little opening. Oh, right here, about here. So I probably would have had a shot had I just stayed put. But at the same time, him coming through right here, he might have seen me. He ended up dying right here. Right there. Right there. Right there. Right there. There you go. So he's right there. I came back over here, sat down, found the arrow. Looked good. I mean, we knew it was dead. We sat there and watched him die. But when you don't get those opportunities to watch him die, that's when you got to really pay attention and take notes of how your arrow looks, you know, where it went, you know, just those little things. So the next time, if you don't see that deer die, you got that in your thoughts. But what we saw from him He was quartering away. We hit him back. Came out the offside lung, I'm assuming. And we'll just head over here to him. Just want to be careful because you can kind of see this run a little bit up in here. That's where that big guy over there is, right there. So that's where they should have been coming out of this one, but no, they were coming from the other way. Which I think it's the second time now it's happened to me. They came from behind me. But this buck was quartering away, hit him a little bit far back. But those arrows, they zip right through the deer. It's so freaking heavy. That's 650 grains. I got 200 grain Massai single bevels with two 80 grain inserts in there. So, you know, we have almost 400 grains up in front of the arrow. FOC is what they call it. Forward of center. And it zipped right through. See a little far back on him. But I'm sure when we flip it over, when we get him turned over here, he's just a little guy. I'm gonna carry him home. Look at where that arrow came out. Right down in the freaking V on the other side. So, hey man, brown down, baby, brown down. Look at that guy. Brown down. Brown town swag, baby. What a shot. That's what we're out here for, right? I ain't out here for trophies, I'm out here for meat. We have fun doing this stuff. Just a little background on Tusky hunting. Bow hunting's new out here. Archery's new to us. I mean, I've only had a bow in my hand for about 5 years now. Just got my first bow deer last year. It was a doe, and then I got that buck. But for the most part, we grew up, you know, gun hunters. We didn't have archery out here. We didn't shoot bows. Our dads didn't, so that's how we came up. But we've had a lot of fun since we got into bows. You know, like I said, it was about 5 years ago. Not to say we didn't try to get them before. Elijah's gotten deer with his bow. Bunches, you know, probably 3-4 years ago was the first time he got one with a bow. But we started archery hunting at the same time. And I never really took note to understand my setups and my arrows, but I do now. And I've hit deer before, and I lost deer before. I was shooting 400 spine Eastons with 100 grain Schwackers up front and losing deer, thinking, oh man, I'm hitting it perfect. But, you know, with a 29-inch draw, starting to understand those arrows, and when it hits a deer, it's kicking, and that it just doesn't have that power to push through it. Like these 650 grain Massais do, single bevels, it blows through the deer. You know, I mean, you saw it on the shot. He popped up. He didn't know what happened. He didn't know what hit him, right? And I think he went, so he got hit just on the other side of where these two trees meet. You know, these two on the ground right here. He got shot just in here. 10, 15 yards. 10 to, dingo 20. Yeah. But, I mean, it's all about the setup. It's all about what you're shooting. You know, I mean, had that been a bigger deer, he's probably going the same distance because that arrow's doing the same thing. You know? But like I said, I ain't out here for trophies. I'm out here for meat. I'm out here for the thrill of it. The perfect shot. Years ago, Creator, he presented me with shot after shot. And I kept turning them down. You know, thinking, deer's too small. Let that one grow. I'm looking for a bigger buck. And in 2 years in a row, no meat. The second year, I didn't even get presented shots. So I learned my lesson. If I'm presented a perfect shot, I take it. You know, and that's what happened here is this guy came through right in the zone. He stopped for me. I love bow hunting though. This is so much fun. Like I said, normally if you're hunting with a bow out here, you're up in a tree stand, right? You don't want to hunt down on the ground like we do unless you're getting in between these pockets. I mean, look at this right here. Look at this guy. So we're going tree stand right here. Sorry, buddy. I don't know. Maybe, probably one of my cousins. Pretty sure I know whose that is. Perfect setup, but hey, just a heads up. They're coming from behind you. Second time it's happened to me in this pocket. This is probably my 4th or 5th deer I've gotten out of this pocket of oaks right here. This tree stand's new, but this little pocket of oaks, I know the deer love to travel through. I've seen so many big tracks in here, you know, and this, I love it. Absolutely love it. So that's how guys bow hunt, you know, and out here in Tuskegee, we get up in our trees, we get up in the tree stands. Last couple years is when I've really gotten aggressive on the ground. Shout out THP, shout out Zach. You know, let's get up on these runs, get up in these bedding areas, get tight to them. This morning I had that big 8-point at 15 yards, but he's chasing that doe full bore. You know, it wouldn't stop. Man, that was some fun action. That spiker held up at 45, chasing another doe, but we got one down. First one of 2022, Tuskegee Outdoors. We're gonna get this guy probably quartered up because it's about a mile walk back to my house, and I've dragged a lot of deer from here. I've carried some deer home because I got a little doe one year. Dragged some straight up to the upper ridge. One day, Elijah and I doubled up in here. He was actually through the other side of the thicket. I was in here. I got a doe in here. He got a doe up there. I dragged her straight through here and up the hill. I ain't trying to do that today though. So I'm gonna head home. I'm gonna grab some bags. I don't even have my knife on me. I'm gonna go get my knife. We'll come back down in here, get this guy quartered up, and we out. All right, guys. Tuskegee Outdoors. First one of 2022. Peace.